UFC 285, Jones versus Gane, full card predictions. This is an excellent card. I'm going to start from the bottom, as always, with Loic Radzhabov versus Esteban Ribovics. And right away, I'm going to go with Loic Radzhabov. Now, Esteban's a good fighter. He's a good striker. But I just don't think he's, at this point in time, at 26 years old, I don't think he's on the level of Radzhabov. Radzhabov has fought in the PFL. As you can check his record, he's fought guys like Haush Manfio, Alex Martinez, Ahmed Aliyev, Natan Chilukris, Mamedov, and then the list goes on and on. Like, he's fought guys, very experienced guys, and beaten a lot of them, had close fights with a lot of them. He does make a lot of fights close. That's what I tend to see with him when I do, when I was watching some of his fights. He does tend to make fights close, even fights that, he should be the better fighter, which can be a little bit concerning. But ultimately, Esteban, like I said, I don't think he's, at this point, I don't think he's on that level of grappling. His striking is pretty good. It is pretty crisp, and he does have some power. But Radzhabov also has power, and Radzhabov's kind of like a come-forward striker who throws heat and can grapple, who can wrestle. So I'm going to go Radzhabov. And he was also supposed to fight on The Ultimate Fighter. He was supposed to fight on The Ultimate Fighter. Connor kicked him off, put his buddies in there instead. So kind of sucks for Radzhabov, but not really, since he's getting a UFC fight before any of those Ultimate Fighter guys. So good for Radzhabov. He deserves it anyway. Like, he's fought top-level competition in the PFL, beaten a lot of them. So I think he gets it done there. Farid Basharat versus Damon Blackshear. Basharat, obviously, he is the brother of Javid Basharat, who's an excellent fighter, one of the best in the division, in my opinion, the guy that could work his way to the best. Both of these guys are very good. Both of these guys, him and his brother, are excellent. More so, Javid, I believe, has the power, whereas Farid Basharat is the more technical, the guy that will kind of see things better, in my opinion. I think he's very good on the feet, and he can mix it up in the grappling if he needs to. He's training out of a great gym in Extreme Couture. And some of the guys that he's been training with, and Blackshear's been training, I saw mostly out of Jackson Wing, which is obviously a very good gym in and of itself. However, with Basharat, training with guys like, obviously, his brother, who's one of the best, Amir Albazi, Patchy Mix, Marab, I believe Aljo, like all those top guys in the bantamweight division, even some of the top guys like Amir Albazi in the flyweight division, like those are really, really, really good fighters that you're getting, sparring rounds with, you're grappling with, and now you're fighting Damon Blackshear, who's good. Don't get me wrong, Damon Blackshear is a very good fighter, but he's not, I don't think he's on the level of Basharat. I just think technically on the feet, he's going to be a step behind. He is a little bit powerful. He does throw some weird high kicks, and those are something to watch out for. But Basharat's pretty cautious on the feet. I think he tries to stay composed, and as the fight goes on, he will get better. He'll start to warm up and really start to land more and more shots on Blackshear. And like I said, even in the grappling, Blackshear is good. He is a good grappler, but he can be out. He got reversed by Yusuf Salal, his back taken by Yusuf Salal, who is a striker. And Basharat, is pretty much a striker too, but he also can, he's a better grappler, definitely a better grappler and wrestler than Yusuf Salal is. So I'm going Basharat to win. Obviously, he's got to be careful because Blackshear is dangerous, but if Basharat minds his P's and Q's, this is his fight to lose for sure. Very, very good fighter that I feel like can make waves in the UFC. We'll see how he does, though. Hopefully he can get the win. Jessica Penne taking on Tabitha Baby Shark Ricci. I'm going to go with Tabitha Ricci. I don't think Jessica Penne is, she's 40 years old. That's the first indicator of picking against someone is age. Now, it's not always, you don't always pick the older person, but when you're looking at a fight, a 28-year-old versus a 40-year-old, the 40-year-old better be really damn good. I picked Glover Teixeira to beat Jamal Hill because I thought Glover Teixeira was really damn good. And he is really damn good. He's a legend, Hall of Famer, but Jamal Hill obviously was just the better man on that night. But in this one, I don't think Jessica Penne is really that good, in all fairness. Like, she's not terrible, but she's a good, decent grappler, not the best striker. Throws a lot of just, pumps out a very slow 1-2 slow jab. Tabitha Ricci, not really the most impressive on the feet to me either, but I feel like she throws with a little bit more conviction, a little bit more power, and I believe she will get the takedowns on Penne. If she doesn't get the takedowns on Penne, if she doesn't beat Penne in general, they would just be a horrible look for her. You have to be able to beat a 40-year-old. If you expect to be anything in the division, this is a fight for you that you have to win. So I'm going with Ricci. Should be able to get the takedowns. Should definitely be able to get the takedowns. If not, though, I could see her winning on the feet. Penne's not, like I said, not a terrible fighter, but Ricci definitely is stronger as well, and should get this one done. Mana Martinez taking on Cameron Simon in the next one. This is for me, this is not as easy as just picking Simon and just not thinking about it, because Mana Martinez is a decent fighter. The problem with Mana Martinez is his sense of urgency in the third round is just terrible. And when your coach, James Krause, is screaming at you and you're sitting in the corner and he's looking right at you, and screaming in your face that you need this win, that Brandon Davis is, don't let him take this win away from you. And then, he says all that. He's, talking to you, making sure it gets through to you. And then after that, what does Mana Boy do? Goes out there, loses the third round badly, doesn't throw a lot of volume, doesn't give a lot of output, gives Brandon Davis a shot in that fight to win. So it's like, what are you doing, Mana Martinez? I don't know if it's like people have said it might be a mental thing. I could see it being like a mental block in his head. It happens with a lot of, good fighters. They just, once they get in their own head, it's tough for them to really come through that. And with Simon, there's no question that he's very confident in his abilities. He's knocking some guys out in the third round, though. I don't think he has the most, straight up power. He does throw heavy, though. He is pretty good. He's a solid striker. He's decent in the grappling. He got out-grappled by Steven Kozlov for part of that fight, but he also had some moments of his own against Kozlov, and Kozlov is a pretty good grappler. For Mana Martinez, I just think, he's going to be outpaced here, at least as the fight goes on. I know he's going to be outpaced. Maybe early on he can land some shots and look good, but as the fight progresses, I think it's almost a guarantee that he's going to not throw as much output, and Simon is known to get better as the fight goes on, and he's had 2 third-round finishes in a row. Could this be third time's a charm, another third-round win for Simon? Either that or maybe like a 29-28 decision. I think Simon gets it done. I can't trust in Mana Martinez after what I've seen from him in some of his fights. Also went to a split decision with Guido Canetti, who's 40, so it's like, yeah, I'm going to go with Simon. I don't think it's complete domination, but I do think Simon gets it done, either in the third round or finds his way to a decision win. Next fight on the prelims is Ian Machado Gary versus Kenan Song. And Kenan Song is the guy that does have one-punch power. However, despite that one-punch power, he also can get knocked out, and he got knocked out brutally cold. Just knocked out bad by Max Payne Griffin. And Max Griffin isn't really known to be like a one-punch knockout guy either. And he starched Kenan Song, starched him out cold. I don't know, if that was just the perfect shot that landed, I guess. But I think, Ian Gary could do the same thing. Ian Gary's a counter striker. So if Kenan Song overreaches, tries to swing heavy, and Gary catches him, I feel like he could put Song out. And that's what the UFC is looking for in this fight. I mean, let's be honest. Why do they put these two guys up against each other? Song hasn't fought in 2 years now. Gary's coming into his prime. He's a younger guy. He's fighting out of a good gym, Killcliff. I don't really see the reason, why exactly they put this fight together, except if they're looking for a Gary highlight reel. I think that's what they're doing for the UFC. I think that's their plan. Ian Gary should find a highlight reel knockout. If not, even if he's in trouble on the feet, I feel like he can out-wrestle, out-grapple Song if he absolutely needs to. But on the feet, he should be okay, and he should stay safe to either a dominant decision win or even, catch Song coming in and put him out with a nice counter shot. So I'm going with Ian Gary to get the win. Next up is Julian Marquez versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Julian Marquez, I'm gonna pick Marc-Andre Barriault, but Julian Marquez, the problem with him is he's a guy that he likes to swing heavy leather, right? He likes to swang and bang, you know what I mean? He really likes to go after it, but Marc-Andre Barriault seems like a guy that he can go the 3 rounds. He's not going to be he was tired in the Fluffy Hernandez fight. I'll say that. Fluffy Hernandez out-grappled him, and that pace set was a very high pace. I don't think Julian Marquez will be able to set the pace in this fight. I think Barriault will be the guy throwing more volume. And early on, Marquez, I feel, can have success. And that his most likely path to victory, in my mind, is Marquez, finding something early, maybe a club and sub or something, as he's done before. However, Barriault, he's been knocked out by Chidi and Jaquani, which certainly is and that was a very 15-second knockout, and then obviously he's had some wins in between his losses there. But, and some of the wins he's had, actually, if you look into them, I'll look into some of Marc Barriault's wins and losses here. Jordan Wright beats him in the first round, beats Dalchelin Gambula, beats Abu Azaitar. You see it in, his losses from earlier on in his UFC career. Jin Young Park, Jocko, and Andrew Sanchez there. I just feel like this is a fight. He's obviously training out of Killcliff, been training out of Killcliff for, I think, 2 camps now for Barriault. Marquez up at Factory X Muay Thai, which is a pretty good gym in and of itself. But Marquez was a Krause guy, James Krause, and similar with Mano Martinez. And I think the Krause guys are going to have a little bit of trouble on this card. Obviously can't train with Krause anymore. He's not their coach. Going to a new gym and finding a new camp, it's tough. Brandon Moreno did it, and he's a champion now, but Brandon Moreno is on a much different level than Marquez or Mano Martinez. And I think Barriault, like I said, I just think Barriault's the better fighter over 3. If this was just a 1 round, obviously Marquez would just go all out and look for the finish. But in a 3-round fight, I feel like Barriault can steal a decision. So that's what I'll go with, Marc-Andre Barriault decision. Viviane Araújo versus Amanda Ribas. I'm going Viviane Araújo to beat Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas is good, but she seems a little bit chinny to me. And I know she got knocked out by Marina Rodriguez, who's very good, but she knocked her out, basically dropped her, and Ribas was out on her feet pretty much, or she dropped her, and then the fight should have been stopped. The fight wasn't stopped. Herb Dean stepped in and he stepped back out like he didn't know what he was doing, even though he's been in the game forever. But Ribas in that fight just took a ton of damage and then came back and won against Virna Jandiroba, and then had a split decision against Caitlin Chukagian, which I believe she lost. A lot of people believe she won. I definitely don't. The 3rd round, she looked better, but I believe she was 29-28. Clear for Caitlin Chukagian. Amanda Ribas had the control time, but as damage trumps control time in today's MMA. So that's certainly something you have to look at when you're looking at scoring a fight. Whoever lands the more meaningful damage, meaningful punches, kicks, knees, all that is more important than whoever can get more takedowns and more control time. So I'm not too upset with that decision against her. But she's a good fighter. Even going to a split in general with Caitlin Chukagian means you're a pretty good fighter. I don't want to say a decision in general, because Caitlin Chukagian is every fight she goes in, she goes the distance, so it's not that impressive to go the distance with Caitlin. Everyone goes the distance with Caitlin, but Araújo, she's a power puncher, or she does have some power in her hands. She fought Alexa Grasso and lost in her last fight. Alexa Grasso is a good fighter. Very good. She's obviously fighting against Valentina in the co-main for the belt. Good boxer, good fighter. And it wasn't like Araújo was just destroyed completely. It was a relatively competitive fight that was definitely won by the better fighter in Grasso, but Araújo is pretty good herself. I think she should be able to box up Ribas here. Ribas does have good grappling, but Araújo does as well. I think this is a fight where Araújo can bounce back and get the win, despite being older, 36 years old to 29. I feel like she is the better fighter, so I'm going to pick her to win. Two more fights on the prelims, Derek Brunson and Dricus du Plessis. I'm going to go with Dricus du Plessis over Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson has wrestling and he has power, but that's really all I'm seeing. Like, I know he's good. Trust me, I know he's good. I'm not saying he's not. But at this point in his career, he's 39. Wrestling and power is what he's gonna, what he has at this point. And he's not like I don't think he's like the quickest guy at snatch, like getting those takedowns. I feel like Dricus is gonna be the quicker guy, definitely the quicker guy on the feet. Brunson does have power. Dricus needs to watch his, he swings very wildly sometimes, and Dricus is always looking to finish fights, which is, in a lot of ways a good thing, but in some ways it's like, it can also hurt you if you're just swinging wildly and you can get hit yourself, get countered. Because Derek Brunson, he has hurt people before, so Dricus can't just he probably will do his normal strategy though of, rushing in, swinging, but I just feel like at 39 for Brunson, it's just a little bit too late. I feel like in his prime, Brunson would definitely win this, but now that there's a 10-year age difference, Brunson's, just got knocked out. One of the most brutal elbow knockouts I've seen ever. Brunson Cannonier was beating him he caught him with a few good shots on the feet. Brunson went down, and then Brunson ate about 3 or 4 elbows, just skull-crushing elbows until the ref decided enough was enough. And for Dricus, I feel like he's also a guy that, I'm not saying he's like Cannonier, but like he can really hurt you. Like you saw what he did to Darren Till in the first round. He got tired in that fight, but it's because he was beating the crap out of Darren Till. And even in the fights he hasn't looked good in, he always finds a way to get it done. And that's the thing I like about him. In the Brad Tavares fight, he found a way to get it done. Even when he's not looking good, he never, he's not going to give up on himself. If he gets tired, he's going to keep pushing through. And I just feel like he's, at this point in Brunson's career, he's 39. How much does he still want it compared to Dricus? I'm sure Brunson is still looking, if he beats Dricus, he's looking, into the top 5, looking for belt, or like looking for those matchups to get to the title again. But I got to go with Dricus here. I think this is, despite him being overrated, which I do agree with, that's a pretty common thing that people say, that Dricus is overrated. I do feel like he is a little bit overrated, but I still think at this point he'll be good enough to beat a 39-year-old Brunson, I would assume. If not, then maybe he's even more overrated than I thought. But the next fight, and this is the headliner of the prelims, is Cody No Love Garbrandt taking on Trevin 5-Star Jones. Cody No Chin, I think he's getting knocked out. If he survives, good for him if he goes the distance and wins this fight, or even knocks out Trevin Jones. It would be a good bounce back for him. I just feel like Trevin Jones hits so hard, and he hits so damn hard, but he's gun shy. That's the problem with him. If there's any problem with, there's so many guys that they hit hard, they're power punchers, they know they have power, but they're gun shy. They just won't throw for whatever reason. I don't know if they're afraid to get hit or what the deal is, but they will not throw. They'll just low volume, throw like a few punches around, and that's it. I don't get it. William Knight is an example. I don't get, what the hell Trevin Jones is way better than William Knight. William Knight sucks. We all saw that fight, him just standing there, punching bag. So he sucks. But Trevin Jones, like, he actually has skill. I know Cody Garbrandt has more skill for sure, but Trevin Jones has skill himself. He's good at jiu-jitsu. He has a lot of power. He can catch you. Like, if Cody Garbrandt, he's made mistakes before in the striking, trying to get, turn it into a brawl, turn it into like a slugfest, and usually he's on the losing end of those battles because his chin isn't going to hold up to the power of Trevin Jones. I think he'll be on the losing battle of this one because his chin will not hold up to the power of Trevin Jones. If it does, then I would assume he's on the sauce, because there's no way I trust Cody Garbrandt's chin to hold up against a power puncher in Trevin Jones, despite him losing his last 3, looking gun shy. I'm picking Trevin Jones to win by knockout. I have to at this point. Starting off the main card, we have, this is a squash match in the highest degree, Jamie Pickett and Bo Nickel. Jamie Pickett, why I don't even think I should be going over this fight. I don't think I should be analyzing it, breaking it down at all. But the only thing I can say about Pickett is he's a more experienced fighter. Yeah, that's about all I can say. That he has the advantage, and he's not better on the feet. I don't know. That's a misconception that has been going around that Pickett's somehow better on the feet. No, he's not at all. Bo Nickel, if you've seen Bo Nickel, Bo Nickel on the feet, I'm sure he's definitely a grappler, or he's a wrestler. He's a wrestler, good grappler too. Like that's his bread and butter is the wrestling. So that's what he's going to want to do: take the fight to the ground, look for a submission or ground and pound. That is his path to victory in most fights. It's what's going to happen in most fights because of how dominant his wrestling is. But he's better than Jamie Pickett on the feet. Jamie Pickett on the feet is very like he doesn't throw much. He's very low volume, gun shy. Another guy is gun shy, doesn't have a lot of power. Bo Nickel, like he'll let his hands go, and he actually does have power. So I really think Bo Nickel is better everywhere in this fight. Everywhere the fight goes, I think this is a first round win for Bo Nickel. If Bo Nickel does not win in the first round, I would be shocked because he should win in the first round against a guy like Jamie Pickett, who probably won't even throw at him. Will probably just get backed up and let Bo shoot and pick him up and slam him down and submit him right away. So Bo Nickel first round submission or TKO, I'm not sure, but he'll most likely win in the first. Mateus Gamrot taking on Jalen the Tarantula Turner, and this is a great fight. This is one of the best fights on the card for sure. I have to go with Gamrot to beat Turner, although Turner is a fantastic striker and even just a good fighter in general. He actually has had some submission wins as of recent, submitting Brad Riddell in his last fight. So it's like Jalen Turner is the real deal. But Mateus Gamrot, I can't, after what I saw between him and Beneil and then him and Arman Sarukian, Beneil Dariush and Arman Sarukian are two of the best grapplers. Besides Makhachev, those two have to be the best in the division, right? Those two guys are such high-level grapplers. And when I say such high level, I mean like really, really like best in the UFC level almost. Like that's how good they are. We'll see Dariush and Oliveira. We'll see if Dariush can showcase his grappling at all, and we'll see how that goes. But I really do think Dariush and Sarukian are excellent fighters, excellent grapplers. Obviously, Oliveira, I mean, he didn't fight Oliveira, but Oliveira is in the mix, and although, there's plenty of other guys, but just to make it clear, like, the level of competition that Gamrot's fighting versus Turner hasn't really been fighting that level of competition. Joshua Kulibau, Brock Weaver, Uros Medic, Jamie Malarkey, and Brad Riddell. So he's been fighting decent level of competition. Not bad at all. Like, there's some good names in that list, some definitely good wins there. But when you're looking at Gamrot is a step up and a big step up in the grappling, big step up in the wrestling, and he is relentless. He has great cardio. I'm sure he took this fight on somewhat short notice, I think. I don't think it was like a week or two. I think it was more like a month, if I'm not mistaken, or a few weeks out at least. I think he's going to have excellent cardio. 3-round fight. He's going to push the pace, look for takedowns. He has to look for takedowns, though, because Turner has he's 6'3" at lightweight, and he has power, so he's dangerous on the feet. Gamrot going to shoot a lot. I expect him to get a lot of takedowns. Turner, it's going to be tough for him to defend the takedowns of Gamrot just because of how relentless they are and how good Gamrot is. So I'm going to go Gamrot to win. Turner is not a bad underdog, though, just because of how live he is, especially in the striking. But I feel like Gamrot should be a step ahead in the grappling and the wrestling and get this done by a decision, either 30-27 or like a 29-28 for Gamrot. Jeff Neal and Shavkat Rakhmonov in the featured fight of the night. In this one, I'm going to lean... Well, I'm not going to lean. I'm going to pick Shavkat, but I am going to say it's not a minus 500, or he shouldn't be a minus 500, Shavkat. Shavkat being a minus 500 is a little bit disrespectful to the skill set of Jeff Neal, the ability that he has. Jeff Neal is a good fighter. He's a good boxer, good wrestling defense, and he's solid. He's not... I don't think he's like, amazing, but I think Jeff Neal is definitely like a good fighter in the division that is a challenge for Shavkat, because Shavkat he got, he's had some challenges before, some good fighters, but this is like a real, like, this is the challenge to see if he's gonna be able to fight the top guys. If he could finish Jeff Neal, then he's gonna get a top opponent next for sure, just because of the run he's on, 16-0. Jeff Neal has the power. That's the thing. Shavkat has to watch out for. But Shavkat's so, he's just a big guy and, long wingspan. I feel like he can, and then he can move his, if Neal's throwing big shots on the feet, he can try to get try to get in the clinch, maybe look for trips, look for takedowns, and even on the feet, throw some wild stuff at Neal. I feel like if he throws some spinning kicks and just stuff like that he always does, it'll throw Neal off, and Neal will not want to engage as much because I feel like Neal, an example would be Luque, and Luque is an excellent fighter, very good fighter. So I mean, no disrespect when I say this, but Luque is very what he's going to do every single time. He's kind of as good as he is, as as good of a Muay Thai guy as he is, he's just gonna walk towards you with his hands up, kind of like that Muay Thai stance. And Jeff Neal just teed off, just lit him up, and I feel like Shavkat's not going to give him that same look of just kind of walking him down or trying to stand right in front of him. I feel like Shavkat, he could mix in wrestling, he could mix in some weird kicks and keep Neal guessing, which I think will help him in this fight. Either Shavkat, I don't know if he wins inside the distance. I really don't. I feel like Shavkat does find a way to get it done, either, it going the distance or if it ends inside the distance. But again, Jeff Neal shouldn't be that much of an underdog because he does have power and he's a pretty solid fighter all around with good power, good boxing. But I think Shavkat is the real deal, and if he has to mix up the grappling, I think he can do that. Co-main event is the UFC Flyweight Championship. Valentina, the Bullet, is back to fight Alexa Grasso, and I wanted to pick Grasso. I really did. I was considering it, but I just don't feel like she's the one. And I know, did Pena feel like she was going to be the one, or did everyone think Pena was going to be the one to beat Nunes? Probably not. No one did, actually, or pretty much no one. If you did, congratulations. Good for you for making that pick. But this could be another one of those. But ultimately, I think Valentina is going to be ready for this. Alexa Grasso has a boxing style, just hands up right in front of her face. Not the most, complex style to deal with. Good grappler, but not like Erin Blanchfield, Talia Santos, not that kind of excellent grappling, although she can grapple. I just feel like Valentina is going to be a step ahead. Valentina is definitely going to, be able to throw a lot of kicks, and, because Grasso really does keep her hands up a lot. So Valentina might looks to go to the body, and might even look to mix in some wrestling here, some trips, some throws, as she does sometimes as well. But Valentina, she's just, I think she's on that next level than Grasso. Again, I know it's one of those where it's it's an up-and-comer. Grasso who's hungry, who wants the belt. I'm sure she's going to give it all she's got. It probably will be relatively close in the end. I'll say 49-46, maybe 48-47 Valentina. I just don't. If she loses, I'd be a little bit surprised if she loses to Grasso. Anything can happen in MMA, obviously. But Valentina losing to Grasso I don't know how Grasso would win that unless she just boxed her up for 5 rounds and defended all of the trips and throws and takedowns of Valentina as well. I just don't see that happening at this point. Even if Valentina is starting to slow down, I think Blanchfield will be the one to exploit that. I hope Valentina, if she gets through Grasso, will fight Blanchfield next, and I really think Blanchfield will get the belt from her, and then maybe Valentina after that would maybe she'll retire. I don't know. Excellent career though for Valentina, and I do think in this card, on this fight, she does get it done over Grasso. Main event of the evening, excellent. And I know I've said a few fights are excellent, and I'm just being honest. I mean, there's been some pretty bad fights on the last few fight night cards that a lot of you were like, "Oh, why are we watching this fight?" On the Josh Parisian and Jamal Pogues on the featured fight. What the heck? But no, this one, this is a, main event of for the heavyweight belt, John Jones and Cyril Gahn. Oh man, I'm going John Jones. I'll say that first of all. And I understand why people are picking Gahn. I completely understand why. And I think more people are actually on Jones. 60-40 are on Jones according to the percentages on here. But there's certainly a lot of people that are picking Gahn due to him being the younger guy, him being a natural heavyweight, him being not out for 3 years, being more active, being the better striker as far as, being able to out kickbox Jones. But it's not a kickboxing fight. That's the thing. John Jones, if he gets a hold of Gahn and drags him to the ground with any way, and he's been training with Cejudo, John has, so I think he can do that. I don't know how many takedowns he will get, and I know John hasn't looked good against Reyes or Santos and everything like that, and there's always, this and that about John. He's older, been out for 3 years. I get it, and I could look stupid for saying this, but I think if John Jones can take Cyril down, I think Cyril's going to be in such a world of trouble. I think John might just start elbowing him on the ground, just land some nasty ground and pound. John Jones, man, if Gahn doesn't have the best takedown defense he's ever had in his life on this night, if John can get him down and John can get on top and start raining down elbows and ground and pound, it's going to be a bad night for Gahn. Because, John, his fight IQ is at such a high level where it's like sometimes he doesn't even, he might not, he knows he's not going to be the better kickboxer. He knows he's not going to want to just make this, like a kickboxing or just a fight that stays on the feet. He knows he has to mix in, in the clinch, some elbows and knees and some trips and takedowns. And like I said, working with Cejudo, going over to Fight Ready, and even just coming back and training at Jackson Wink and being motivated and everything for a guy as good as Jones is. With already, he has such good, his skill set is so high, his fight IQ is so high. Just him now moving up in weight and fighting a guy who's shown that he can get taken down, he can get controlled by, Francis Ngannou, who's very strong, just a freak athlete. However, just not as good of a technical wrestler as Jones is. I just feel like Jones, again, this is a 50-50. This is like a toss-up because we don't know how John's going to look in there. But if John gets the takedowns, I'm telling you, I think if he gets the takedowns, he might maul Gahn. Despite Gahn being a decent grappler, I think John's a great grappler. So I'm going Jones to get the win. So pretty good UFC 285 card, as mentioned. 14 fights, so plenty of action. Few underdogs that I like for the most part. I like a lot of favorites, but a few underdogs that I like as I'm looking through here. Viviane Araujo isn't a bad one. Trevin Jones, I think, can upset Cody No Love. Those are the two that I see. There are some fights that are close in odds. Obviously, Marquez and Barriolder is a relatively close fight in terms of the odds, but pretty good night of fights overall. This is probably the one I'm looking. Gamrot and Turner is probably the one that a lot of people are looking forward to the most. Well, I mean, obviously Jones and Gahn, but besides that, maybe Gamrot and Turner is the one people are really looking to, like, just to see something that, both guys are so good at what they do, and Turner having the power and the striking, Gamrot having grappling. It's going to be an excellent fight card. It's going to be an excellent night. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.